Is there such a thing as kosher money? Hi, this is Avrohom Czapnik from the Jewish Learning Exchange. I want to thank Rabbi Rubenstein for covering for me while I was away. This week's Torah portion is Parshat Seitzei, and it has 74 different commandments. That's more than 10% of the 613 commandments on a wide range of topics. But one of the topics is what we're going to talk about, the concept of kosher money. Now, kosher money doesn't mean that it has to have a rabbinic supervision on the money, a stamp, the OU, the OK, the RCC. No, food needs rabbinic supervision, but not money. But there's an aspect of kosher money anyway. The Parshat talks about having honesty in weights and measures. It's not a new invention, it's from the Torah. To make sure that you don't even inadvertently cheat somebody. And a friend of mine, that someone had given him charity to give to the Beis Yisrael, one of the great Hasidic Rebbes, the Ger Rebbe. And the Rebbe took the money, went, "Is it kosher? Is it kosher?" And my friend was like, I don't know. He just asked me to give it. I assume so. The Rebbe was sensitive. He wanted to make sure the money was kosher. Rav Segal, the Rosh Yeshiva, the Dean of the Manchester Yeshiva, said something very powerful. He said, no matter how noble the cause is, even if you're not having any personal benefit from it, don't take money, even a penny, dishonestly from the government or from individuals, none at all. There's a fascinating Gemara. The Gemara says that Rabbi wanted to save Torah knowledge for the Jewish people. There wasn't enough formal education going on. So he took flax and he planted it, made nets, caught deers, ritually slaughtered them, gave the meat to the poor, and used the hides to write on it the 5 books of the Torah, and other hides he wrote the 6 orders of the Mishnah, of the oral Torah, and he went from town to town teaching different children parts of it that they should teach the others, and this way everyone's teaching everybody, and that's how he increased the Torah learning among the Jewish people. It shouldn't be forgotten. So the Vilna Gaon, the great Gaon of Vilna, asks a very profound question. Why do you have to plant the flax? And why don't you just buy the hides and write it? And he says something quite profound. He says that he wanted to ensure that from the process from beginning to end was done properly, honestly, because if it wasn't, that would impact the learning that they were able to get. It would negate the holiness of the Torah to some degree, and would lessen the impact the Torah would have on the children. So he supervised it from beginning to end, from the flax to make the nets, to catch the deers, to give it to the poor, to use the hides, to write the 5 books and the 6 orders of Mishnah, on and on, to teach more and more students so that they could teach each other. This is an important idea because it's easy to not be honest in business, but to really do what we're supposed to do is a very important point, because it has an impact not only on the act of being honest or dishonest, but on the outcome of the students that are impacted. There was a great rabbi who asked a donation for his yeshiva from a widow that gave a tremendous amount of charity. And he asked her, what are the places you give charity to? And she had a whole list of wonderful, worthwhile Jewish causes that were legitimate Torah and institutions and acts of loving kindness. It was a wonderful list. And he was impressed. He said, how did you know not to give it to wasteful things, but to really legitimate places? And she says, look, my husband worked very hard all of his life. My husband, of less man, worked very hard, but he was very meticulously honest. And I prayed to Hashem, God, my husband's honest money should go to honest and worthy, holy Jewish causes. And God listens to my prayer. And that's why I merit to give it to the right places. So we should be inspired by the many beautiful 74 mitzvahs in this week's parsha, to try to be the best that we can be. And remember that honesty is the best policy, and be inspired by the good things that people do with where the ends does not justify the means, where the means has to be holy and kosher as well. Have a very wonderful Shabbos. All the best.